So who was first?
Oh.
Hey, good afternoon, Judge Mincy.
You're muted.
You're still muted, Judge. Is my volume down or something?
No, we heard it right now.
I don't know what's going on.
Is everyone able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but we can't hear the judge.
Judge, I don't know what's going on there. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Am I unmuted now?
Now you are.
Okay, sorry about that. I was pressing. And maybe I was doing that incorrect, so I apologize.
Donald Carroll.
All right, Judge, whenever you're ready to start, we have a private attorney Case position 2, it's gonna be Donald Carroll.
Okay,
Are you wanting to give your announcements first?
yes. All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fulton County State Court Expedited Accusations calendar, and I am Judge Regina Mincy, and we're going to begin the calendar for today, which is January the 19th, 2023. This is a calendar for cases in which individuals have recently been arrested and charged with certain misdemeanor offenses. Soon after their arrest, the Fulton County Solicitor General's office has already accused these cases of the offenses brought against them, and the case has been bound over to the Fulton County State Court. Nevertheless, this will usually be the defendant's first time or initial appearance before a state court judge. So we're going to be able to address several matters, including bond, possible arraignment, or consideration of a possible plea offer if one has been made at this juncture. I will begin by advising everyone that this whole entire proceeding is being recorded and live streamed on YouTube. I want to also remind the defendants on this calendar that you have certain constitutional rights. The first being that you have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say about the facts, the circumstances, and the occurrences of your case can and will be used against you. Listen to your attorneys, govern yourself accordingly. I want to also remind you that you have a right to have an attorney to represent you at this juncture. And so you should know who your attorneys are by now. And again, listen to your attorneys. And I understand I have this filter of grass growing through me. So let me, as we get started, I'll see if I can get rid of that filter. So I apologize. Are you laughing, Ms. Bridgewater, at this grass that's coming up out of my
No, ma'am.
I'm sorry, you all. I will try to get that together, but we can go ahead and call the case with the private attorney. And you said that is position number 2.
Correct.
All right. And I'll work on this as I'm listening. This is case number 23 CR 0000335F. The state versus Donald Carroll. You're charged with 1 count of battery family violence. The offense date is October the 16th, 2022. Pre-trial?
20 total. He got 1 cycle out of Texas, tampering with evidence. Last arrest in Georgia. I see a cycle for January 12th this year, probation. Before that was June 2022, failure to appear. It was not prosecuted. June 22, suspended license. 2019 FTA for identity fraud. 2019 theft by deception conviction. 2019 simple battery. He was found guilty of that. 2019 probation. 2017 probation. That's it.
And the prosecutor?
Yes, Your Honor. The facts of the case were that the defendant was upset with the victim because she made ribs for herself and did not make chicken for him. He proceeded to call her derogatory terms, and she responded by punching him in the face. The defendant then body slammed the victim to the ground 4 times. The victim had visible swelling on her arm area and a scratch to her chest. The state would be asking for a $5,000 surety bond, no contact with the victim, Audrey Flakes, to stay away from 208 Honeycutt Street, that's HUNNICUTT, and to take 1 anger management class.
All right. And what was your recommendation on the bond amount again?
It's a $5,000 surety case, and just to bring it to Your Honor's attention, this is a co-defendant case with Audrey Flakes, who's position number 4.
I
Okay.
represent Flakes, Your Honor, just for.
All right, thank you. All right, PD Kim.
Actually, Judge, this is Attorney Terrence Bradley.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so used to, I apologize. And tell me your name again, counsel.
Terrence Bradley.
Terrence Bradley, okay.
Yes.
All right, go ahead and you may present, Mr. Bradley.
Judge, my client is 31 years old. He's lived here in Fulton for the last 5 years, same address. He's not on probation or parole anymore. The case that pretrial mentioned a few minutes ago was resolved on Tuesday. It was a misdemeanor probation out of Cobb. That case was closed out. He is no longer on probation in Cobb or on probation period. As the court is well aware with police report, this incident happened back in October 4th. My client and the victim have, of course, rekindled. This was a mutual comeback. In the report, in the police report, it even states that she hit him first. The prosecutor stated that she punched him first. He does not desire to press charges against her, and I don't think, from my understanding, she desired to press charges against him. This happened back on October the 4th. My client was headed out of the country and was picked up then because of the warrant here in the information warrant. They do not live together, but they are still together. They have one child, a daughter together. And so, Judge, with it being a mutual offense and neither one wants to press charges, we're asking the state to dismiss the charges. However, if that does not happen, we're asking for a $1,000 bond and then let my client bond out on a $1,000 bond.
All right. And you stated that the victim, which is, I believe, Audrey Flakes,
Flakes.
they are, I'm sorry,
Audrey Flakes, and she's on the front row right behind us.
right.
Same,
Okay.
same.
And so they have one child together. Do you know how old the child is? Is it a small
The
child?
child is 2 years old, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. McLeod. And they were formerly in a relationship,
To my knowledge, they're still in a relationship.
still in a relationship.
This happened back in October. They were never arrested back in October. He wasn't even aware there was a warrant out until he went to fly out of the country.
All right, I see the offense date was October the 16th. And they've been residing together since October the 16th, the offense date.
They do not live together, Your Honor.
They don't live together, but they are still together as a couple, from what I understand.
All right. And then tell me again what his employment is.
Judge, he has an auto broker company where he sells cars.
All right, I am going to order a surety bond, and the amount of the surety bond will be $3,500. And with that surety bond of $3,500, there will be no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And maybe Ms. McLeod, I would hear the other case because I did not hear the state's recommendation as far as the contact with the victim, Ms. Lake.
We would be asking for no contact, Your Honor.
And I guess I'm a little concerned that they've continued, obviously, to have contact since October. I'm assuming they've had no further incidents. And normally I do no contact because I want there to be a cooling off period. Normally these cases are coming up a few days after. And since October, and it is now January, that's more than enough time to cool off. And maybe they're just trying to co-parent, I'm not sure.
That is correct. My client would prefer no further violent contact because they are co-parenting this 2-year-old.
Okay. And so that's my inclination as well. And so I'm going to, as long as I don't hear anything from the defendant, Ms. Lakes, of any thing differently. And I don't know if the state has had an opportunity to talk to her, not, probably not at this point. And I don't know if we have that or not, what her wishes or desires are. Are we doing her next? Because the reason why I say that is I want to make sure in ordering no further violent contact, that is, okay with her as well.
It is, Your Honor. She tells me that they are exchanging the child. He picks a child up from daycare, takes a child to her job.
Okay.
That's what they have.
All right. So I'm going to order no further violent contact. And I was going to say a third-party person to exchange visitation, but it seems that they may have that worked out. And hopefully are positively co-parenting. So I will order no further violent contact. And Mr. Bradley, I'm going to ask that your client take a one-day anger management course as part of the conditions. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Anything else from the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right, that will conclude this case. Anything else, Mr. Bradley?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
And the state would ask if we could do Audrey Flakes next. That would be best.
Right.
Position 4, Flakes.
All right. This is 23 CR 000334F. Charge Ms. Flakes with one count of simple battery family violence. That offense date is October the 16th, 2022. Pre-trial?
First arrest.
Okay. All right. And ASG Taylor?
Yes, Your Honor, the facts are the same as the previous case, with her hitting the victim first. The state would be asking for a $2,000 surety bond. Again, no contact with the victim, Donald Carroll, and a one-day anger management class.
All right.
Your Honor,
Wow.
my client is 26 years old, Your Honor. She's originally from Wisconsin, but she has been living in Atlanta for several years now as she moved here for college. She attended Clark Atlanta. She has a bachelor's degree. She is gainfully employed as a teller, and she is the mother of a 2-year-old daughter to whom she's extremely attached. This is her first arrest, Your Honor, and I would ask the court to give her a signature bond so she can get out of jail to take care of her daughter. That is her biggest concern at the moment. She tells me that she is currently co-parenting with the co-defendant, the cross-defendant, Your Honor, and that they have an arrangement for sharing their daughter where he picks up her daughter from school. She would prefer no further violent contact between them, and they do not live together, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to order $2,500 signature bond through pretrial. I'm going to order no further violent contact with the victim. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I'm going to also order the one-day anger awareness course as well. And I think that will be it. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Is
Okay.
that bond per judge?
Per judge, yes. Thank you.
Position 7, Halls. And we also have a visitor in the gallery for Ms. Halls.
Okay. This is 23 CR 000339E. is that Dolores Halls. You're charged at 1 count of simple assault, family violence. That offense date is January the 27th, 2021. Pre-trial.
Yeah, 25 total. All of the history come out of Florida. For this last arrest for you. Last arrest was 2016. It was for traffic. Suspended license. 2012 battery DV. It was charges were dropped. Before that was 2009 probation, 2008 contempt of court, disorderly conduct, conviction from '08, resisting arrest. Battery on law enforcement officer, firefighter, charges were dropped in that case. That was from 2008 as well. Giving false name, conviction, possession of marijuana. That was from '08. Everything else is older.
Okay. All right, ASG Taylor.
Your Honor, officers were called to 5,000 Bohannon Road in Fairburn in reference to domestic dispute. The defendant was the one to call 911, and the officers met with her first. She stated that the victim pushed her down in the parking lot, causing bruising and bleeding on her arm. She stated that the victim lived together and are in a relationship. The officer asked to see surveillance footage and observed footage from the breakout room, where he saw the defendant enter, pick up food, throw it on the floor, got in the victim's face, and blocked her from exiting. They both walked outside, and the victim allegedly grabbed the defendant's neck of her shirt and slinged her to the ground. There was no footage from the parking lot incident. The victim did confirm the breakout room incident. The officer concluded that the defendant was the primary aggressor due to the breakout room incident taking place first. The officer asked why the defendant didn't report the incident when it happened, and she stated that her boss said if the police came on the property, she would lose her job. This happened on January 27th, 2021. The state would be asking for a $2,000 surety bond, no contact with the victim, Bridget Worthy, and to stay away from 5,000 Bohannon Road in Fairburn.
All right. Is this Ms. Gant?
Yes, Your Honor, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Ms. Dolores Halls is 47 years old. She has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area since 2017. She is the proud mother of 6 children. Her youngest is 24 years of age. She also is a grandmother, and she states that she spends time at home assisting her granddaughter with the care of a newborn. This grandchild is 10 days old. She states her daughter needs her there to help her with this grandchild. Ms. Halls completed high school, and at this time she is currently unemployed. She has not been working since November of 2022. She is trying to start a business. And Your Honor, Ms. Halls was unaware of this warrant. In fact, she learned of it in the process of getting things together for her business. I would bring to the court's attention, Your Honor, my client strongly denies the allegation. She is adamant that the complaining witness, Ms. Brewer, attacked her first. And she states that as a result of her being attacked, she actually had to go to a domestic violence shelter. She stayed there for about 6 to 8 months. My client, Ms. Halls, has very remote history, and I did not hear about any convictions for violence, Your Honor. Therefore, given the date of this incident in 2021, the fact that my client turned herself in on the date of the actual incident, my client called the police. I'm asking that Your Honor grant Ms. Halls a signature bond, as she does not have the means to make bond, Your Honor. We are unopposed to any no contact and stay away orders. Thank you.
And so I had the victim as, it was a Bridget Worthy, and I think you gave me mentioned a different name. Who was the
And the
victim?
warrant, Your Honor, I've read Bridget Brewer.
That's
Oh.
what I had.
Okay, Brewer. Okay.
I'm sorry, yeah, I misspoke. It is Brewer.
Okay, I thought I heard worthy, but sometimes, okay, just making sure. I'm going to order a signature bond in this case for $5,000. And that signature bond will be through pretrial per the judge. I'm going to order there be no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I'll go ahead and order no further contact with the victim, Bridget Brewer. And that location, Ms. Gant and ASG Taylor, since it's been so long ago, do we know who resides at that location on Bohannon Road?
Your Honor, it is a Duracell plant and my client no longer works there.
Okay, that's a business, okay. I will not order that stay away, Mr. Taylor, unless you tell me there's some other reason since she doesn't work there anymore and that was a business, not obviously the home of the victim.
Your Honor, my main concern is I'm not sure if the victim still works there. They work there together. So I would prefer it to stay away just to be safe.
And
Okay,
Your Honor, we're unopposed to the stay away at this incident location.
okay, that makes sense. And I will order a stay away from the 5,000 Bohannon Road in Fairburn, which is the Duracell plant. So we'll order the stay away from there. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor. Thank you.
No,
All right,
You gotta say-
thank you.
Position 1, Ms. Bush.
This is 23 CR 000333D. Is it Tinay Bush, charged with 1 count of battery family violence. The offense date is January the 18th, 2023. Pre-trial?
This is the 4th arrest. Last arrest was in 2021, theft by receiving. It was dismissed out of Clayton County. 2019 probation, suspended license. In 2016 suspended license. That's where the NOLO came from. That's all I got.
Okay. ASG Taylor?
Your Honor, officers arrived at 6818 Marywood Drive in reference to domestic call. Linda Ward, the victim's grandmother, called officers because she received a text message from her 10-year-old grandson saying, "Help me." Upon speaking with the defendant and the 10-year-old child, it appears that an argument began over a cell phone. The defendant grabbed the victim's arm and struck the victim in the face, causing visible bruising. The victim then ran out of the front door and contacted his grandma. The victim stated that he was being abused by his mother at different times while she was hostile and mad, and the victim did get transported to Grady by EMS. The state would be asking for a $10,000 surety bond, no contact with the victim if the victim can live with the grandmother, to stay away from 6818 Marywood Drive, and if that's not her home, and 1 anger management class.
All right. Ms. Gant?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Tinay Bush is 30 years old. She has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area her entire life. She has family here, including a mother and a grandmother. And of course, the complaining witness, minor TC, that is her only child. He is 10 years old. Ms. Bush completed high school. She also attended college where she studied psychology and childhood development. She is currently employed at Home Depot in Human Resources. She has been in that position for over a year, Your Honor. She also tells me that she has a job interview, or she's planning to start a new job in February to supplement her income, Your Honor, so that she can take care of her child. My client strongly denies the allegations, Your Honor. She states that she was basically telling her son to not take his cell phone to school. He disobeyed her, and there was a struggle. She states that her son actually balled up his fist as if he was going to attack her. She was just basically, again, trying to get the telephone. I guess with trying to get the telephone, they fell down the stairs. He was on top of her. She states that she was very afraid of her child, and also quite surprised because they have had a very great relationship, and she was just surprised that he acted that way. Now, regarding my client's history, I do acknowledge that she does have some cycles. However, Your Honor, she does not have any convictions for violence whatsoever. Your Honor, I did reach out to her mother, Miss Tanya Lucas. The minor was not available, and Miss Bush also informs me that she does not know where where the minor's father is. So I am asking this court for a signature bond, Your Honor, and we would ask for a no violent contact order. To my knowledge, there is not a defects order that is in place. And furthermore, I have not been able to confirm, nor do I believe the state has been able to confirm that the grandmother is in any position to continue providing care for this minor child, Your Honor. And again, the incident location is my client's address, so we are opposed to any stay away orders, Your Honor. Thank you.
Your Honor, just to emphasize the importance of the cell phone is actually given to the victim by his grandmother due to previous allegations of abuse. She did say that she wanted to keep it on himself at all times.
I guess my only other concern too is we don't know where this child is staying. As I think you stated, he's 10 years old. Is he with the grandmother? And I'm assuming the grandmother lives at a different address.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do we know the grandmother's address at all?
I do not know the grandmother's address, Your Honor, nor do I know if she's even in any condition to keep her child. My client states that she does not believe that she is in any condition to keep her child. She believes that, of course, she's the best custodian of him.
Is it possible to ask her the name of the grandmother and where she lives?
Her grandmother's name is Tanya Lucas, and Miss Bush, may you, well, actually, may we have that address placed in the chat by courtroom 2? So Miss Bush, if you may provide the address to one of the officers there, they will place it in the chat.
Okay, so are we placing the address for the grandmother or for the great grandmother that's on the case?
You'd asked me about your mother, Tanya Lucas, so that is who she's asking about, Miss Bush.
Okay.
But the victim on the case is Linda Ward, is that correct?
That is the great grandmother.
Oh, that's the great. I was trying to see which was which. Okay.
In
So
the
Linda
warrant,
Ward
Your
is
Honor,
the,
it refers to the grandmother, I believe, but the relationship is the great grandmother.
okay.
Your Honor,
So-
we would be asking for him to reside with Linda Ward. I was under the impression that that was his grandmother, but if it's his great grandmother, that's who we would ask that he stay with.
Okay, then I'm gonna change obviously my question or the address, trying to get a potential address of where this child may be and have that be the stay away location. And just trying to, figure it out. It's a little confusing.
Your Honor, my understanding is that her child is with Miss Lucas and not Miss Ward. Miss Ward is the child's grandmother.
Okay, so do we have an address on Miss Lucas?
I do not have an address for neither, which would Your Honor like, Miss Ward or Miss Lucas? And again, my understanding is that the child is with Miss Lucas.
Right, whoever the child is with, that would be my concern. I mean, I may order to stay away from both, but I certainly want to make sure the child victim TC, I believe were the initials. Is that correct? And
Yes,
he's
Your
10
Honor.
years
So
old.
then we would need the address for Tanya Lucas.
I heard the call.
Judgments, the state order request, we get both addresses just because I don't know who the child is with at this point, but clearly a 10-year-old child is not on the streets by themselves.
Right.
So if we have both addresses, we find who is the most suitable to take care of the child in lieu of his mother right now, Miss Bush.
I was going to acknowledge you when you were on there before, Deputy Fox. I apologize that I was trying to get to you.
Sorry, Your Honor. I had to interject because I was saying at this point we're talking about a 10-year-old. He's got to be somewhere. I feel like we just need to narrow it down.
Right. Thank you.
He's with my mom.
You're muted. Oh. So is that in the chat?
I'm putting it in the chat now, Judge.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I had clicked off of the chat, so I was not actually looking at it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to order a surety bond. And that amount will be a $5,000 surety bond. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order no further contact with Linda Ward. And I'm going to also put no further contact with Tanya Lucas, as both could be potential persons or maybe jointly taking care of the victim. I'm going to order no further contact with the victim, TC, the minor child. No further contact while on bond till things can get sorted out. And
Is his initials TC or TS?
did I make up an initial
No,
again?
I heard that before, but I have it as TS.
Oh, Your Honor, I do apologize. I believe that is my error. I have the name TS, but transcribed it as TC. So it is TS.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
I do apologize.
that's
No
okay.
problem.
All right. So TS. And you do understand, again, Ms. Bush, you to have no contact with your minor son while you're on bond unless any of those conditions are amended or changed. I just wanted to warn you that, not through third parties or anyone else. You to have no further contact at this time with him, okay? As well as your grandmother and great grandmother, since they could potentially be custodians for your son. So we want to make sure there's been the ample cooling off period, and that your son will be safe wherever he is.
Your Honor, I do have a slight question regarding the minor child's belongings. He had been living with his mother forever, so may the court grant some type of one-time law enforcement so that whomever can retrieve belongings for this minor child?
No, that is great. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I'm going to allow a one-time police escort back to this 6818 Marywood Drive. And we are assuming who resides at this location?
It is Ms. Bush's address, Your Honor. It's her residence.
Okay. But neither the grandmother or great grandmother reside there with her. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And so we will inform them that they can take a police escort back to that location for everyone's safety to retrieve the personal belongings for the victim. It's a little circular the way we're saying it because we normally would say it a little different, but I know Miss Bridgewater has it.
Mhm.
And Your Honor, one other question, Your Honor. If by chance DFACS gets involved in this case, may your order also reflect that visitation is to comply with the recommendations of DFACS?
That is correct, yes. Whatever plan of action or visitation or reunification that DFACS orders will yield to that. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Judge, what's the bond amount? Can I say something?
That was a $5,000 surety bond.
Ms. Bush, I see your hand is raised. I would advise you to remain silent. I put a notice to the officers there. I'm going to give you a call to talk to you, okay?
Position 12, Simpson.
My apologies for interrupting, Your Honor.
Ladies. Right.
This is 23 CR 000-337A. Johnquavius Simpson, charged with 1 count of loitering foul. Second count, possession of marijuana less than an ounce. And a 3rd count, possession of a pistol or revolver by a person under 18 years of age. All with the offense date of January the 18th, 2023. Pre-trial?
Yeah, so I see 7 cycles. He's 17 years old. I see 7 cycles. The first 2 cycles are juvie cycles. Last year he was arrested in March, simple assault, family violence. July, felony theft by receiving. August, felony theft by receiving, fleeing an officer, ag battery against law enforcement. And he was arrested on the 5th of this month. I see 2 counts of felony theft by receiving, possession of a pistol or revolver by a person under 18 years of age, second and subsequent offense. And of course, all this stuff is open, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's it.
All right. ASG Taylor.
Your Honor, the defendant and his co-defendant, who is also on the calendar today, Mr. Kentrell Hall, I believe he is position number 6. They were seen near the Quick Trip wearing ski masks at 9:30 p.m. yesterday. Officer Jones approached in his patrol vehicle and he noticed them turn around and walk in the opposite direction towards their associate, a juvenile who was also arrested that night. A concerned citizen nearby stated that they saw the defendants walking back and forth on the property, but never went inside to purchase anything, that they do not own a vehicle in the parking lot, and that they kept walking by other vehicles in the parking lot that did not belong to them. When the officers arrested the defendant, Johnquavius Simpson had a loaded Glock 27 in his pants, as well as a blunt of marijuana. The juvenile that was also arrested had a loaded Glock 43 in his pants, and that was reported stolen by the city of Atlanta. Your Honor, the state's very concerned about this particular defendant because he is out on bond on many extremely serious charges, from 8/13/22 with his felony theft by receiving and felony fleeing and eluding. He's out on $20,000 straight bond. From December 1st, 2022, his theft by receiving, he received a $1,500 surety bond with no drugs, alcohols, or weapons, which he's in direct violation of because he was found with a weapon that night. On January 6th, 2023, just this month, he was released on a $5,000 good bond. He was required to have an ankle monitor paid for by the county, no weapons. He was supposed to be under a 24-hour curfew, except for legal, medical, education, work, childcare, or necessities of life, which being at the Quick Trip looking in vehicles is not. Again, he was on January 6, 2023. He was released for felony theft by receiving, possession of stolen property, and possession of a firearm by an 18-year-old on a $10,000 good bond. He was also supposed to have an ankle monitor and a 24-hour curfew. Your Honor, I'm not really sure what's going on with the ankle monitor. Clearly, he does not have it on at this time. So needless to say, he's in violation of many of his bonds in many different ways. The state would be asking for a $6,000 cash bond. Stay away from the Quick Trip located at
761 Sydney Marcus Boulevard.
Thank you. To have no drugs, alcohols, or weapons, to have no contract or no contact with Kentrell Hall. That's Kentrell, Hall, Hall, or the juvenile in the case, Tayshawn Garrett. It's Tayshhawn, Garrett, Garret. Thank you.
Your Honor, my client is 17 years old. He is one of 10 siblings. He tells me that he lives at home with his mom and his dad and 9 other siblings, of whom he is number 5. He tells me that he's currently working on his GED and he's also trying to get a job. In fact, he tells me that he had an interview today, which obviously he has already missed. My client denies that he was in the area for any improper purposes, Your Honor. He was just hanging out with some friends. He told me that he was unaware that at his age, he was not supposed to be in possession of a weapon, Your Honor. But he said it was something that was obtained legally. It is owned in the family. I have not been able to get in touch with his parents, but I have been in touch with an older sister, Your Honor, who I believe is on the Zoom. She's an adult, because I know that at his age, any kind of bond that he is going to have probably is going to have to be conditioned on someone. Well, that would be a signature bond, I suppose. But I did get his sister, and I believe she's on the line, Your Honor. She may want to say something if the court is amenable to that. But I would certainly ask the court to give him a reasonable bond. A cash bond is not going to be good for him. He's not in a position to pay a cash bond, of course, because he does not work. Nothing further, Your Honor.
I'm not seeing the judge. I don't know if
Yeah, I don't see
got
her.
dropped, but she's not on the Zoom at the time.
Hello?
Hold on, she's trying to reach me. Hold on.
Excuse me.
Just one moment, ma'am. We are waiting on the judge.
Thank you, Miss Grace. I appreciate it.
Okay, for some reason, the judge got disconnected. She's gonna sign on and come back. She can see us, but we can't see her. So give her just a second. She's coming back on.
In courtroom 2, while we're waiting, I would just ask if we, after this case, can address Kentrell Hall, since that's the co-defendant.
Judge, you're muted.
All right, I think I'm back. Can everyone hear me now?
Yes,
I see Miss Bridgewater.
yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me, Miss Bridgewater?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
Uh-oh,
Yes.
can't hear you.
Uh-oh. Can everyone else hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, so Judge, you still cannot
I
hear
see
me?
Miss McLeod's head moving, but why? Let's see. Can you all say something again?
Yes, can you not hear us?
Ah,
I hear.
You have no volume of us?
let's see. Oh, hold on. Now say something.
Hey, we can hear
There
you.
you go.
Okay,
All right, now I can hear you.
okay.
I just turned my volume way up. Maybe that was it. All right, sorry about that. I've been having some internet connectivity issues today.
I think I was in the middle of presenting when we lost you.
And I said, uh-oh, she's frozen on me. All right, let me get back to the calendar, but go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. I was saying that my client is 17 years old. He's working on his GED. He tells me he lives at home with both of his parents and his siblings, 9 siblings that he has. He's number 5 among them. He denies that he was doing anything improper on the occasion when he was arrested, Your Honor. He tells me that he had an interview, a job interview today. He's not working, but he did have an interview today, which of course he's missing. I know the prosecution has recommended a $5,000 cash bond for him. That's essentially no bond because he's unemployed. So he will not be able to post that kind of bond, Your Honor. His sister, I wasn't able to get a hold of his parents because it was a very short time before court that I was able to speak with him. But I did get a hold of an older sister who I believe is on the Zoom now, Your Honor.
Okay.
She wants to say something. And I do acknowledge, Your Honor, I think you may be frozen again.
Oh, let's see. I'm trying to see what the error message is, but go ahead.
Yes, I do acknowledge that he has a lot going on and it's outstanding, but he's still only 17 years old and certainly not beyond redemption. So something needs to happen at this point to get all these issues resolved. I don't know if we can get the parents involved or something because he tells me he lives at home with both of them and some older siblings as well.
And who do we have on the Zoom call? Did you say someone was on Zoom?
Yes, Your Honor. Sister. That's Janice Simpson, his older sister, Your Honor.
Okay, and she's not a victim in this case.
No, not at all, Your Honor.
Okay. But I sometimes will allow very limited information, but he is 17 years old. And tell me your name, ma'am, his sister.
Jalecia Simpson.
Jalecia Simpson.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, how old are you?
20.
All right. Can you do me a favor? I'm going to swear you in briefly for some information. Can you raise your right hand for me?
Yes. Do I have to turn
I'm sorry?
Do I have to turn my camera on?
Yes.
You do. I have to be able to see you in order to talk with you.
Can y'all see me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm propping the phone up.
Okay. All right. Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right. And let me ask you this. You're 20 years old. Where do you reside?
At home with my mom.
What's that address?
311 Scott Street. Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, 30311. Apartment 99.
Apartment 99.
Yes.
All right, and so does your brother, the defendant here, does he reside there as well?
Yes.
And I don't know, Ms. McLeod, have you asked if he were to receive a bond, who would be co-signing on that bond?
I did, Your Honor. My understanding is that would be mom.
Okay.
She's at work.
And I was gonna say, your mom's not with you,
No.
Simpson, your mom is at work?
Yes. She get off at 4.
What's mom's name, Ms. McLeod?
I don't have mom's name, Your Honor. What is your mom's name?
Oh, Ms. Simpson, what's your mother's name?
Tanya Smith.
Spell that.
TanyasMith.
How old is your mom?
40. Oh, she 50.
All right.
Did you say Tanya?
I'm sorry, those are the only questions that I have of her, unless either counsel has any questions.
I just wanted to know the correct spelling of her mother's name. Did you say Tanya, Tamya?
That was my
Tanya, yeah.
Tanya, okay, Smith, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Your Honor, I don't have any questions for Ms. Simpson. However, I do want to stress that we did ask for a $6,000 cash bond, not a $5,000 cash bond, and that he just got out on 2 felonies just 13 days ago with the requirement not to have any weapons, to be on an ankle monitor, and under a 24-hour curfew. And he's again violated that in just a short period of time. We would ask for a very strict bond in this case.
All right. Anything further, Ms. McLeod?
Your Honor, my client is trying to get his GED, Your Honor. So any condition that is put on his bond, I would ask the court to give at least some leeway where he's able to pursue this. And also to work, because he tells me that he has been trying to find a job.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and order the $6,000 cash bond. The history and disregard for prior orders is certainly concerning to me. And so that is why I'm going to order the $6,000 cash bond. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I'm going to order that he continue to pursue his GED. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And again, if he were able to make bond, obviously he would need a cosigner, I believe, still, which I guess would be his mother, Tanya Smith.
Is that 2,000 on each charge?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, that is correct.
And is there a stay away?
Yes, stay away from 761 Sidney Marcus Boulevard, the QT.
And Your Honor, was there going to be no contact with the co-defendant Kentrell Hall and the other co-defendant Tayshawn Garrett?
Yes, thank you for reminding me. No further contact with the other 2 co-defendants. Anything else, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. That will conclude this case.
Position 6 is Hall next. I do apologize if there really apologize. I was gonna have a real slow.
This is case number 23 CR 0000336A. Kentrell Hall charged with one count of loitering or prowling. That offense date is 1/18/2023. Pre-trial.
This third adult arrest. Last arrest was in September. Misdemeanor obstruction, possession of a pistol or revolver by a person under 18 years of age. Before that was June of last year, riot in a penal institution. That was out of Dodge County. Other cycles were juvenile. That's it.
All right. ASG Taylor.
Your Honor, I'll be handling this one.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, Deputy Falk, please.
Yes, Your Honor. This is the same facts as the Simpson case. Defendant Hall and Johnquavius Simpsons were seen near the Quick Trip wearing masks at 9:33 p.m. Officers approached. They noticed them along with the juvenile Mr. Garrett, who then walked away from the scene. As nearby citizens also stated, they were walking back and forth onto the property, but never went inside to purchase anything and didn't own any vehicles on the lot. And then when officers arrested the defendant didn't have any items on him or any handguns, but Mr. Simpson and Mr. Garrett did, who were his co-defendants. So I just received the defendant's juvenile history, which is admissible under 15-11-703 as to the issue of bond. The defendant's juvenile history, according to Mr. Pinion, when he sent it to me, he says it's one of the worst he's seen lately. And looking at it, I'm inclined to agree. We have a 21 guilty theft by taking criminal trespass out of Cobb County, 2021 Richmond County felony obstruction, 2019 Forsyth County gang activity, 2019 Cobb County conviction for gang activity and theft by taking, 2018 participation in gang activity, theft by taking, criminal damage to property in 2018, financial transaction card fraud, theft by receiving, possession of tools, reckless driving in 2018, violation of probation in 2018, all of which resulted in him being committed to the DJJ and being adjudicated delinquent. Additionally, upon reaching the age of 17, he has a possession of a pistol or revolver of a person under 18 years of age and willful obstruction here in Fulton County, which he pled guilty to. Your Honor, no, actually, Your Honor is not the one that took that plea. My apologies. Where he was sentenced to 12 months probation. So he is currently on probation on that case. And he was sentenced January 17th of 2023. That's notable because that was literally a day before he committed this offense. Additionally, he was sentenced by Your Honor December 22nd of 2022 and is still on probation for operation of unregistered vehicle, giving false name, driving without a valid license. At this point, the state's concerns are beyond strong on this. You have a young man who is really completely committed, it appears, to head down the wrong path here, both through his juvenile history and through his current history. I don't see any change in this trend, especially considering the fact he was sentenced on the 17th and literally was on the 18th going around in parking lots, looking into vehicles, especially considering this defendant out of Forsyth County, as part of his juvenile history, was charged with 30 plus counts of entering auto, which was then transferred to Fulton County, which we then handled and he was adjudicated delinquent on. So we do have some serious concerns here. And I think at this point, the only thing that we can do, and the only recommendation the state has, is a $5,000 cash bond. We are asking for the similar conditions as to those for Mr. Johnquavius Simpson, which is to stay away from the co-defendants, Mr. Garrett and Mr. Simpson, to stay away from the location of Quick Trip, which is located at 761 Sidney Marcus Boulevard, and to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
All right. PD's office.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Kentrell Hall is 17 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area. He has his mom and dad here. I have been in contact with his mother, Kenya Benton. She is willing to co-sign for her son. Mr. Hall states that he is trying to enroll into a program to earn his GED. He is unemployed. He denies the allegations, Your Honor. I would bring to the court's attention that my client does not have any convictions as an adult, Your Honor. This we heard his juvenile history, that I would ask that Your Honor not consider that. And again, for the offenses that are stated there, this charge is nothing like what has happened in the past, Your Honor. So we do believe that the state's recommendation for a $5,000 cash bond is unreasonable. We are asking for a signature bond in this case. We are unopposed to the stay away orders from as it relates to the incident location and the co-defendants. I've spoken with his mother again. She states that she does not have anything to pay toward bond. So if Your Honor is not inclined to grant a signature bond, then I would ask for a bond of no more than $1,000. Thank you.
And Your Honor, I'm going to assume on this one that PD Gant just misspoke and meant to say that he has no felony convictions, because as the state has pointed out, he has 2 misdemeanor convictions, one from 2 days ago and one from less than a month ago, and is currently also pending felony riot and penal institution charges.
All right. I'm going to order the $5,000 cash bond. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order stay away from the quick trip on Sidney Marcus. No further contact with the co-defendants in the case. And I believe that's it. Anything else, Deputy Falk, or?
We would ask for a cosigner given the circumstances.
That's right, yes, and a cosigner. If he makes bond, the 5,000 cash bond.
Position 13, Stembridge. Hey, excuse me.
Yes.
Can I ask you how much was Johnquavius bond? My phone had went dead.
For your brother or the case we just finished?
My brother.
Your brother has $6,000.
He had what?
$6,000 cash bond.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, Deputy, what number again?
13.
13, okay. This is Tori Stembridge, case number 23 CR 0000341E, charged with battery family violence. That offense date is June 17th, 2022. Pre-trial?
7 total. His last arrest was like in 2001 on a probation. No, hold on. Yeah, 2001 marijuana possession. The only violence I saw was an ag battery from 99. He does have a TPO. It was issued July of last year, and it expires July of this year. Samala Wallace. I think this incident happened in June, so it wasn't violated. That's all I got.
Okay.
Your Honor, the
state.
Your Honor, Muhammad Abdullah on behalf of the state. The facts show that on June 17, 2022, the victim, Miss Samala Wallace, entered the Zone 3 precinct to report an assault. Miss Wallace told officers on 6/17/2022 she came home with her hair messed up, and the defendant questioned her as to why it was messed up. She told the defendant that it was because she was wearing a hat that day, but he did not believe her. The defendant called Miss Wallace a liar and punched her in the stomach. The following day, Miss Wallace sought medical attention because her stomach was bruised. She left the doctor and went straight to the precinct to report the attack. The defendant does have a 7-cycle arrest record, and though older, the defendant was convicted of ag battery in 2000, stemming from an arrest where he pointed a gun at an individual. Since the incident date, June 17th, the defendant has sent at least 10 text messages to the victim trying to get in touch with her, as early as, or the last text message being as late as yesterday. He texted her several times asking if they could talk, and also acknowledging the fact that he was breaking the TPO. He's texted her and said, "I don't want to break the court order, but can we just talk? I didn't think we were enemies like that." For that reason, oh yes, the victim also says that since the incident, someone slashed her tires. She strongly believes that it was the defendant, which is why which is part of the reason that she got the TPO in the first place. The TPO is valid until July 2023. And again, like I said, since yesterday, the defendant has tried to call the victim and he has texted her phone several times. For this reason, the state is asking for a $5,000 surety bond, no further contact with Samala Wallace, a stay away from 3601 Pine Forest Drive, 1-day anger management, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while on bond.
Your Honor, my client, Mr. Tori Stembridge, he is 48 years old, and he's been here in Georgia for all his life. Your Honor, he's a proud father of 28 years old daughter, and he's gainfully employed at Markel Distribution Center as a loading and unloading trucks at warehouse. He's been working there for 15 years. He graduated from high school, and he makes enough money, so he's not going to be qualified for public defender's service. And my representation will end at the end of this bond hearing. Your Honor, this incident happened on June 17, 2022. And because of this incident, my client already paid on August 1, 2022, $1,669 restitution to her. Also, last week, he finished 24 weeks of anger management, and he would like to verify why this came up again. We believe there's some kind of like a double jeopardy issue going on here, because he was actually arrested for this and he took care of these issues. So we would like to get more information about that. We need to research that.
Your Honor, if the PD could give a case number so that we can look into it.
I tried to find it, but I couldn't find it. And also, Your Honor, they broke up. They don't live together. They have no child together. My client is fine with stay away and no further contact for this incident. And he does not reside at 3601 Pine Forest Drive anyway, which is incident location and Miss Wallace's place. So we would like to request for a signature on bond for this incident, which he believes he already served and was punished for. Thanks.
Your Honor, if I may, the state has no information on a previous case regarding these facts. If the PD believes that he's already been tried and found guilty and finished his sentence, she could reference a case number, but without a case number, we have nothing to go by. She said herself that she couldn't find the case, so I'm not sure where the defendant has got that he paid restitution. We haven't heard anything about it. Again, for that reason, we're requesting the $5,000 surety bond and the further bond conditions asked for.
Yeah, I hear what PD Kim is stating. Concerns me a little, but if we don't know for sure, maybe he paid the restitution. I hear he's already completed FVIP for 24 weeks.
Under what case? When was he sentenced to complete the FVIP? His last arrest was 2000. His last conviction was 2005. So I'm not seeing he was even arrested on this charge.
Mm-hmm.
He said his restitution was paid on August 2022.
According
And
to our records, this is his first arrest in Fulton County.
okay.
So it may not be the same person possibly.
And Your Honor, that was my fault. I informed Mr. Abdullah that, but this is actually his first arrest since 2001 in Fulton County. So that was my fault. I didn't get time to put that in the chat. He hasn't been arrested in Fulton County since 2001. So unless Miss P.D. Kim's allegation is this incident happened 20 years ago, I'm not sure how he would have done any of these things on any kind of case before.
That will be something that we have to kind of like research it even more. I'm just relaying the message.
I understand.
Thanks.
Right. All right, I'm ready to rule. I'm going to grant the $5,000 surety bond. I'm going to order no further contact with the victim, Samala Wallace. I'm going to order stay away from 3601 Pine Forest Drive. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And anything else, counsel?
Yes,
No.
Your Honor, we were requesting a 1-day anger management or anger awareness course.
Your Honor, can he actually submit the anger management class that he completed for 24 weeks? Maybe that will be a substitute of the new class.
Or any additional anger awareness. I hope he has learned from the 24 weeks FBIP. So
Yeah, the state has no objection as long as that 24-week FBIP is prior to the incident date.
Okay, and PD Kim, see if you can get his certificate.
Okay.
That should be it.
All right.
And we'll consider that.
Your Honor, if we could make part of his condition that needs to be submitted in writing within 30 days of release.
That's fair. All right. So, and submit that, you're getting that, Ms. Bridgewater, that certificate from FBIP within 30 days of release from jail. Submit that to his attorney, PD Kim, so that she can get it over to the solicitor's office.
Will do.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Counsel?
Position 3, Mr. Dakota.
This is 23 CR 000331F. David Dakota, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your last name. You're charged with 1 count of theft of services. The offense date is January the 18th, 2023. Pre-trial?
Second arrest. 2021 felony theft by receiver. He's on first offender probation for that out of Richmond County.
All right. PD's office?
Yes, Your Honor, I do represent Mr. Dakota.
Dakota. All right, you may proceed. Oh, I'm sorry. I did that wrong. I'm sorry. ASG Taylor goes first.
Your Honor, the defendant entered the Brooklyn Cafe in Sandy Springs and ate there, accumulating a bill of $67. When he was asked to pay, his bill, the defendant stated that he was not able to pay the bill. Officers were called and came to the location and asked him what was going on, and he stated that he came into the restaurant without any money, without any card to pay for the meal, and still ate there. State would be asking for a $2,000 surety bond due to the fact that, this seems pretty intentional as far as him going in there and not having the money to, pay for the services, and for the fact that he is still on felony probation for theft by receiving.
All right.
And, Your Honor, we would also ask for a stay away from 220 Sandy Springs Circle, which is the Brooklyn Cafe.
Your
All
Honor,
right.
a position to speak on that
Um,
behalf.
Mr. Dakota, Mr. Dakota, please remain silent.
All right. You may proceed, PD.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. David Dakota is 24 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area since 2020. He does not have any resources to bond out of jail, Your Honor. He does have family in Atlanta, but no one is available to bond him out of jail. Mr. Dakota completed high school. He also has some college credits. He studied cybersecurity. He is unemployed at this time. He was last employed as a landscaper in 2022. He is now, Your Honor, disabled. He served in the military for 1 year. He's disabled because of that service, and he's applying for VA disability. He's presumed innocent, Your Honor. These are just allegations at this point. I'm requesting a signature bond on Mr. Dakota's behalf. This is a non-violent offense. He does not have the means to pay anything toward bond, and we are unopposed to the stay away. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
And Your Honor, also, he's residentially challenged. We are submitting a social worker services consult for him as well.
All right. I'm going to order the $2,000 surety bond. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order stay away from the Brooklyn Cafe at 220 Sandy Springs Drive, I believe.
Circle. Your Honor.
Oh, Circle, Sandy Springs Circle. And I think that's it. Anything else?
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor. Thank you.
No,
All
you're
right.
You're done. Come on, Nicole. Position 8, Mr. Heron.
Your Honor, I believe that the PD was requesting a breakout room for this case. It could be held to the end of the calendar if they would like.
Okay. Would you all like to, deputies, move this to the end of the calendar? Is the
That's
last?
fine, Judge. Position
Okay.
9, Johnson. Just have it in the.
All right, this is 23 CR 000-340C. Antonio Maurice Johnson, charged with 1 count of terroristic threats and acts. The defense date is January the 18th, 2023, pretrial.
I got 16 cycles. Last arrest was 2021. Ag assault, strangulation, criminal damage to property, first degree, possession of a knife or a firearm by convicted felon or felony first offender, 2 counts of ag assault, 1 count simple assault, family violence, possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission. That's 21 CP 202211. 2021, possession of a Schedule 1 or 2 suspended license, possession of a Schedule 2. Those were dismissed and not prosecuted. 2020, misdemeanor possession of marijuana and giving false name. 2019, failure to appear. 2019, possession of promethazine. 2018, driving without a valid license conviction. 2017, probation. 2016, FTA conviction. He also has history out of state. 2014 in Tennessee, leaving the scene of an accident. Got a 2019 out of Utah, theft by deception, forgery, interference with arresting officer. Those were convictions. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Date.
Yes, Your Honor, 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Your Honor, the facts show that on 1/18/2023, Police responded to a call at 500 McDaniel Street, apartment 3219, where they met the defendant standing outside. The defendant was visibly upset and led officers to the apartment door, where he began to talk loudly and cause a scene. The victim, Miss Chelsea Wagner, told officers that she was afraid to open the door while he was standing near, so officers asked the defendant to step away. Miss Wagner told officers that she locked the door and tied it up because she was afraid of the defendant. Before officers arrived, the defendant tried kicking through the door several times and told Miss Wagner he would beat her. The defendant denied saying he would beat her, but instead told officers that he told her he would have his sister beat her. His sister later arrived at the scene while officers were still present. On the way to the jail, the defendant told officers that he also knew people that could kill the officer that was transporting him. The facts of this case are very alarming due to the defendant's previous history. The defendant has an open case for felony strangulation against Ms. Wagner, the victim in this case, and is in direct violation of a $25,000 straight bond issued by Judge Bosney in Superior Court. The conditions of that bond was that he stay away from 500 McDaniel Street, which is the incident location in this case, that he have no further contact with the victim in this case, Ms. Wagner, and that he remain on house arrest at 1827 Honeysuckle Drive, apartment 12. So all of the conditions of the bond were breached or violated from this incident. Since he's been in custody, he has called the victim 7 times. 2 of those calls were answered by the victim, and both calls were hostile, where the defendant argued with the victim. Due to the defendant's relationship with the victim and his previous violent history, it is likely that he will exert undue influence over her to intimidate her not to cooperate with the prosecution of this case. For this reason, the state is requesting a $5,000 cash bond, $5,000 cash bond, no further contact with Chelsea Wagner, and a stay away from 500 McDaniel Street, as well as no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while on bond.
Okay. All right, PD.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Johnson, Antonio Johnson, is 27 years old, and he's been here in Georgia for all his life. Your Honor, my client says that he did not even open up the door to Chelsea Wagner because of the bond condition not to have any further contact. So when Chelsea Wagner was trying to open the door, he didn't want her to be in. And the 500 McDaniel Street, Your Honor, it is in both Antonio and Chelsea Wagner's name. And Chelsea still has, legal right to enter the premises. However, there's a bond not to have any contact. And I believe that stay away from that incident location was conditioned upon if she does not reside there, my client was allowed to come back to that location.
Your Honor.
May I please finish? And
I'm
then,
sorry.
No problem. Miss Wagner has not lived in that location ever since April 2022, and she resides at totally different location. They have 2 years old child together. My client is gainfully employed at FedEx Ground as a package handler for about 4 years. He graduated from high school successfully, and he's not going to be qualified for basically the public defender's services. And the warrant says it was either the sister or my client was the one who had an altercation with Miss Chelsea Wagner. My client says her sister was not even there. And she came after all the things after the police arrived, which Mr. Abdullah actually stated that too. So the warrant is kind of unclear. He also has an ankle monitor. He pays $300 every month. And so I don't think he's going to be a flight risk, Your Honor. And we would like to request for a $5,000 good bond instead of cash bond. Thank you.
Your Honor, I apologize for interrupting the PD. I just wanted to make a correction. The stay away is somewhat of a non-issue considering the fact that as a condition of his bond, he was supposed to be on 24/7 house arrest at 1827 Honeysuckle Drive, apartment 12. The judge made it clear that he could not reside at any other address. So if he's saying that he's residing at 500 McDaniel Street, that's again in direct violation. In addition to that, he was not able to enter 500 McDaniel Street because Miss Wagner had the door locked after she came home. She walked into the house with the defendant in her house with another woman. At that time, the defendant walked the woman outside and Miss Wagner locked the door. That's when the defendant began banging on the door and attempting to kick his way through, which caused Miss Wagner to tie the door closed because she was afraid for her life. So I just wanted to make that correction. He does have a stay away order as part of his previous bond condition from 500 McDaniel Street. But in addition to that, he's supposed to be on 24-hour house arrest at 1827 Honeysuckle Drive, which is the alternative address he provided to the court.
All right.
Mr. Antonio Johnson, unless it is directly related to the bond condition, I strongly recommend you to stay silent. You have a right to remain silent.
It is, Ms. Cam. The last bond hearing, my lawyer supposed to had got it mixed up. The lawyer and the DA got it mixed up. I never stayed on Honeysuckle. I supposed to stay away from Honeysuckle. I reside at 500 McDaniel, and my lawyer put in motions when I got out to get it switched over, but I don't know what happened. That's why I've been there. That's where my leg monitor at. That's what the leg monitor people know. I'm at 500 McDaniel. That's where I'm at. Chelsea Wagner's not there. I'm right there.
Okay.
I supposed to stay away from Hamilton. I supposed to stay away from Honeysuckle, and that's where the confusion coming in. That Chelsea dropped the baby off. She's seen another girl, and that's how it happened. But
please not mention any more about the facts of the case.
Your Honor, at this time, we don't have an updated bond. We don't have a bond modification or updated bond order, so we can only go off the conditions of the bond that's in place, which again is a $25,000 straight bond with the conditions that he stay away from 500 McDaniel Street, no further contact with Miss Wagner, and to remain on house arrest at 1827 Honeysuckle Drive, all of which he violated.
Okay.
I will be happy to contact his attorney, private attorney for the other case. Hopefully that he has a copy of the bond modification.
All right, I'm going to order a when we say straight bond, cash bond of $25,000 on the cash bond. Gonna order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I'm going to order a stay away from the 500 McDaniel Street. Or Miss Kim, is that what he's saying? He resides there and not at the 1827 Honeysuckle. But I think I was gonna do both addresses because I didn't know which one is where the incident occurred.
Incident occurred at 500 McDaniel Street, Your Honor. However, if he has a bond modification for him to be allowed to stay there, can he return that location? I will get the bond modification from his private lawyer.
Right. And do we know, I'm getting ready to order, I'm sorry, no further contact with the victim, Chelsea Wagner. Do we have in the report at all, the police report, where she resides? Or maybe at that time she could have been.
It's our understanding that she resides at the 500 McDaniel Street apartment 3219.
Right. I just better err on the side of caution and order him to stay away from there, from that McDaniel Street address. to be on the safe side with our victim since she's not here to speak for herself. And maybe I can order, if he makes bond, a one-time escort to retrieve his personal belongings.
Did you say 25,000 cash?
Yes.
Was that 25,000?
Yes, that was the
Okay.
state's recommendation, was it not?
No, it
it
was not.
It was 5,000.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you.
$5,000 cash.
$5,000 cash. I'm sorry. Thank you, pretrial. $5,000 cash. And let's do the stay away for now until PD Kim can request or find out about a bond modification. But right now, I'm going to order stay away from that address, one-time escort to retrieve any personal items, and no further contact with the victim.
May we please have a third-party transfer of the children so he can continue his relationship with his children?
Yes, we can do a third-party transfer.
Thank
Not
you.
to have any contact with her. Mr. Johnson, you have to use third parties or other people to contact about your children. Do not contact her in any manner. No internet, no text, or anything. Okay? All right, that should conclude this case. If there's anything else, counsel.
Come on.
Nothing for that.
District 10, Johnson, have a seat.
All right, this is 23 CR 0000343C. Richard Johnson, you're charged with 1 count of battery family violence. That offense date is June 19th, 2022. Pre-trial.
His 5th arrest. He got history out of Missouri. Last arrest was 2017 in Georgia, suspended license. Last arrest in Missouri was 2013. Damage to property in the 1st degree, 2012 forgery, 2010 unlawful use of a weapon. That was conviction.
Okay.
Your Honor, the facts show that on June 19, 2022, the victim, Miss Wakia Harris, called 911 to report a fight between her and the defendant. When officers arrived, Ms. Harris reported that her and the defendant were having a verbal dispute when she picked up the defendant's book bag, and the defendant bit her on the hand and punched her in the face. Officers observed injuries on her right hand and a cut on her lip. All of Ms. Harris' injuries were recorded on the officer's body-worn camera. The state wants to prevent a cycle of abuse and do everything in its power to protect Ms. Harris from any further violence. So although he doesn't have a extensive history, we want to make sure that this doesn't become a cycle of violence. For that reason, we're requesting a $3,500 surety bond, no further contact with Wakia Harris, a stay away from 70 Allen Temple Court, 1-day anger awareness course, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while on bond.
All right. PD?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe his fiancée, Yakia Harris, was going to testify so that way they can have no further violent contact. However, I don't know if that iPhone is actually.
That's me.
Okay, so I would like her to go first, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Harris, do you wish to address the court?
I mean, we have a baby. Like everything been good ever since that altercation happened. Everything.
Hold on, please stop for a second. I asked you a question. It was yes or no. Do you wish to address?
Yes.
All right. So if you do, I'm going to swear you in first. So raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what type of contact would you like with Mr. Johnson?
I mean, we live together. We have a baby and everything on the way. So I don't understand why we can't have no contact at all. I mean, no violent contact. I mean, I can do that, but we live together.
And when is your baby due?
February 16th.
Okay. All right, and are you in fear of Mr. Johnson?
No. That was the only altercation that we ever had.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any cross-examination?
Your Honor, the state doesn't have any questions. The state will state that due to the defendant's relationship with the victim, it is likely, as in most family violence cases, that he has some undue influence over her and could be convincing her not to cooperate with the prosecution of this case. And therefore, we would just ask or just request again for no further contact with Wakia Harris, as well as a stay away from 70 Allen Temple Court.
Okay. All right, PD Kim.
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Richard Johnson is 31 years old. He was born and raised here in Georgia. And Your Honor, this happened on June 19, 2022. There has been ample time for both of them to cool down. They had no other incident. They live together. They are happy together. So we would like to request for no further violent contact to be granted. He has been, he's gainfully employed at Wayfield as an associate in the meat department. He completed his GED and he is excited to have, he's the sole provider for both his fiance, Yakia Harris in this case, and soon to be coming a baby. Since Miss Yakia Harris has to take a medical leave of absence. So he really has to go back and be able to work to provide for the family, Your Honor. Thanks.
All right. I'm going to order the $3,500 surety bond. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order to the time between this incident and now, a little over 6 months. No further violent contact with Wakia Harris. As far as the stay away, I'm a little concerned about it. And they have a child on the way and he has a job. So I do understand that. And again, this incident date, make sure I'm not mistaken, was June 19th of 2022.
Yes, Your Honor.
If the defendant does make bond, I'm going to not order the stay away with the condition that he will seek out an anger awareness course. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, state there's a 6-week course somewhere.
Yes,
Or
yes, I believe there's a 6-week course that's available for him.
Okay.
Is that what you're ordering?
Yes, I would like to order the 6-week anger management course. And that's on the condition, Mr. Johnson, that I'm going to allow you to go back home, no further contact. You have a baby on the way, you have a job. So hopefully you will not violate the terms and conditions of your bond.
Your Honor, as a condition, can we get that 6 weeks? Can we get him to start it within 30 days of release?
Yes, that is fine. Yes. And you need to start that course, Mr. Johnson, within 30 days of your release. All right, anything else? Counsel, I think that's it. If you have anything else, then that will be it for this case.
So who's next?
Position 11, Mr. Knotts.
This is 23 CR 0000342D. Markel Knox, charged with 1 count of conduct, 2nd count of simple battery. The offense date is August 2022. Pre-trial.
His 9th arrest, 2017 probation. Original charge was fleeing, attempt to elude. 2017 shoplifting, giving false name. 2015 suspended license. Another 2015 suspended license. That was the eluding. 2014 simple battery family violence conviction. 2011 battery DV disorderly conduct arrest. That's it.
Okay. State.
Your Honor, the facts show that on August 5th, 2022, officers responded to a dispute involving a gun call at 3154 Hickman Drive. When officers arrived, they met with the security guard who had the victim, Miss Ashley Stone, detained in his car. The security guard told officers he heard several shots and seen a blue vehicle fleeing from the scene. Shortly after, Miss Stone approached the security guard and said she was involved in an altercation with her child's father, who is the defendant. Miss Stone told officers that she and the defendant were arguing about their child. She attempted to de-escalate the argument several times by walking away, but the defendant followed her. The defendant mushed Miss Stone in the face and attacked her brother for trying to intervene. The defendant then left out of the apartment and got into Mrs. Stone's vehicle. Miss Stone told officers that she asked the defendant several times to exit her vehicle, but he proceeded to drive off. While driving off, the defendant fired multiple shots from a firearm in the direction of Miss Stone. The defendant has a 9-cycle arrest record, including a simple battery conviction from 2015 and a simple battery arrest in 2011, a battery arrest in 2011 in which he victimized his previous girlfriend. The defendant's history is concerning to the state because of his level of violence seems to have increased over the years, and this could have easily been a homicide case, but for the defendant's aim. Due to the defendant's relationship with the victim, it is likely that he may have undue influence over her and convince her not to cooperate with the prosecution of this case. For that reason, we're requesting a $25,000 surety bond, no further contact with Ashley Stone, a stay away from 3154 Hickman Drive, 1-day anger management, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while on bond.
State the amount of your recommendation again.
$25,000 surety bond.
All right.
My client is 28 years old. He and the alleged victim live together and they are raising 5 children together, 2 of whom are his biological children. He denies that there was any guns involved on that day, Your Honor. He said he just left in the car. He doesn't own a gun and did not fire any shots. And he is perplexed as to where the allegations that there were gunshots came from, because he did not have a gun and he certainly did not fire any guns. He does admit that they had an altercation, but he said there was no physical violence and he did not fire any gunshots, Your Honor. I understand that my client does have some history, but I would say it is remote. And also, Your Honor, this incident happened several months ago, approximately 5 months or so ago, and they have continued to live together and to raise their 5 children since then. I have spoken with the alleged victim, Your Honor, and she says absolutely she wants to have contact with my client because they're raising children together. And she also denies that there were any gunshots fired. She says she doesn't know where that comes from. I believe that she is on the Zoom, Your Honor, and I'd like the court to sound for her. But on the issue of bond, Your Honor, a $25,000 bond is absolutely excessive, and it would be tantamount to no bond for my client. He's certainly not in a position to post a kind of bond, and I also think it is unwarranted under the circumstances, Your Honor. Nothing further.
All right. Is Ashley Stone on the Zoom?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Oh, okay, there you are. Do you wish to address the court?
I do.
All right, raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am. Come here. Okay. Yes, ma'am. I see it. I see it, son.
All right. All right. I was going to say we need you to possibly cover up a little bit. Because we
sorry.
are, yeah. Okay.
Is this
All right.
fine?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
And go ahead. What type of contact would you like with Mr. Knox?
Well, I'm pregnant, so we need contact. I found out I was pregnant when I was arrested, and we do raise our kids together, including my children. He helps me with them. So I would like to have contact with him.
All right. And you all already
Just a no
have a
violence
child?
contact. That's fine. Huh?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
A no violence contact would be fine, but we need contact.
So this
And
is
we
your
do
first child
reside
with,
together. But with my ongoing case, we have to be separated. So I'm trying to get it out the way.
okay. So you can't reside together.
Not at the moment, because on my side, they told me that I can't have any contact with him.
So you're
This
already
is a dual
under.
arrest situation, Your Honor.
Right.
I'm sorry?
It was a dual arrest situation.
Right. And I didn't hear that at the beginning. So now I'm clear. Okay. So they're already under a no further contact.
You asking me?
No, I'm just
No,
making
Oh,
a
okay.
statement. So what I'm going to do is I am going to order a $10,000 surety bond. I'm going
That's
to
a
order.
lot.
Yeah, I understand. I'm basing it on the history and the facts and the allegations that I've heard today. And so with that $10,000 surety bond, I'm going to just continue
Your Honor,
with,
if you,
I'm sorry.
Your Honor, before you make the ruling, if we could have an opportunity, just ask the victim some questions.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did
Yeah,
not.
it seems
Yeah.
to be a disconnect in the facts that the public defender has. Ms. Stone, were you struck the night that you called the police, or did you call?
No,
the
I
police?
was not struck. I was not hit at all.
You were not struck, and you told the PD that there was no gun involved?
I fired my weapon at my car, at the
Okay.
tire of my car. So he didn't, I did.
How many times did you fire?
I think I fired 3 times.
Okay. Jan, I just want to make it be known that the police did recover shell casings, 3 shell casings from outside of the vehicle where Ms. Stone said she was standing. But the security guard reported hearing 5 shots, which is why both of them were arrested for the reckless conduct. So we just wanted to put it on the record that there was a gun involved. Ms. Stone admitted that she had a gun. I think PD might have misspoke when they said that there were absolutely no guns involved, but Ms. Stone had a gun, and she also reported that that the defendant in this case had a gun and fired multiple shots or a couple of shots, which corroborates the security guard's testimony, or not testimony, report that he heard 5 shots in total. It would have been 3 from Ms. Stone and 2 from the defendant, as well as as well as she reported to officers that she was mushed in the face. It is deeply concerning. I know the stay away is kind of a non-issue because she's already has a bond condition that she must stay away. But this whole incident took place in front of their shared children. The mushing and the arguing, the children were present.
My children weren't in the home. I'm sorry.
Well, the
My
warrant
children were at
states,
the neighbor's home.
Don't interrupt, Miss.
the warrant states that after she was mushed, the brother broke up the fight, and after she was mushed, the brother broke them up, and Miss Stone went into another room, at which time her children ran into the room and said, mommy, come quick. And the defendant was attacking Miss Stone's brother. So for those reasons, we're requesting a $20,000 bond on the reckless conduct, a $20,000 surety bond on the reckless conduct, and a $5,000 surety bond on the simple battery.
Your Honor,
Yeah.
My client did not have a gun on the occasion. He tells me that they had an argument and he decided that it was good to cool off. So he went into the car and he left. He fired no shots. And when you look at the warrant and the circumstances, they said he was backing up the car. How do you back up a car and be firing shots at the same time? It doesn't make any sense. And the alleged victim has testified that she was the one who has the gun. My client says he has never had a gun and he did not fire any shots on that occasion. And if he's backing up, as I say, he's backing up the car, who can do that? He's not a stuntman to be backing up a car, firing guns. It doesn't make sense. He denies that he had guns, and the alleged victim's testimony is that he did not have a gun. She did.
The victim's testimony has drastically changed from the night of the incident, which is very common in family violence cases. We see this pretty much in almost 99% of family violence cases, that the victims recant their stories. Nonetheless, based off the facts that we have from the arrest report, as well as the warrant, the victim told officers that the defendant fired 2 shots first and she returned fire. It's not hard to reverse a car. It takes all of a millisecond to fire a gun twice. So I don't think the two are mutually exclusive that he reversed and fired the car. But there's nothing further from the state. We've made our bond recommendation, Your Honor.
If I can speak, I would like to.
No, I'm not going to hear any more testimony because those are the facts that can be argued at trial. This is not your trial.
Okay.
Unless you're going to tell me something different about the contact that you're seeking, I'm not going to go back and forth much longer on the facts.
I am seeking contact because we have a child on the way, and I would like for him to continue to see his child and watch him grow as he should, as well as coming to the doctor visits, as well as being there for us as he has been.
Okay.
No matter the circumstances.
Right. And you say as he has been, he's been under the stay away bond conditions for how long now?
Since August, we've been communicating through his mom and his sisters.
Okay.
In violation of the bond order.
Right. I'm getting ready to say concerned about that. Concerned about
It sounds like a third party contacted me and they have children.
But
Well, she said they've been attending doctor's appointments together.
No, I haven't. I said I would like for him to attend my doctor's appointments and see his child more often, be there for him as he should.
All right. Well, what I'm going to do there are two charges here against Mr. Knox. The first one being conduct, and I will order on the reckless conduct the $10,000 surety bond, and then on the simple battery, $2,000 surety bond, so a total of $12,000 is what I will do for both of those charges. I'm going to continue to order the no further contact Ashley Stone and stay away from 3154 Hickman Drive. And I would also like to order the 6-week anger management course for Mr. Knox as well. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Your Honor, with respect to the anger management course, they already have to, if they're going to bond them out, this is a very high bond for these misdemeanor charges, especially for the one that he absolutely denies happened, Your Honor. They also have a child on the way. This is going to be a huge hardship for them if they have to come up with a minimum of $1,200 to bond them out. It's probably maybe more like $2,000. Then he has to pay for this anger management course, and they do have a child coming. It's going to pretty much leave him.
Here, stop. Okay, I will change this order the 1-day anger management for now.
Thank you.
Okay.
Your Honor, if we could get that within 30 days of release.
And within 30 days of release is fine. All right, nothing further. Thank you. Next case.
Position number 5, Gibson. It is on.
Just go.
You have to sit down.
I'm sorry, Deputy. This is.
Position 5, Gibson.
Okay. All right, this is 23 CR 0000332J. Arthur Gibson, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. The offense date is January the 18th, 2023. Pre-trial.
30 total. Open case out of North Carolina. Breaking and entering and larceny. Yeah, that was from November, October. He got a 2020 common law robbery conviction. He also got history out of California. 2021 burglary, 2nd degree. Well, that came off of 2020. That's a conviction though. Battery on a peace officer, obstruction. Those were convictions as well. 2018. He had carjacking as well, but that was dismissed. Got a 2018 assault with firearm on person. 2017 possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of drug controlled substance. 2017 another possession of controlled substance. Got parole violation. 2015 and another one. 2014 burglary. 2013 obstruction conviction. 2012 assault with a deadly weapon, participate in criminal street gang. Assault with a deadly weapon was a conviction. I don't see the disposition for the criminal street gang. 2013 burglary conviction. Yeah.
All right. State.
Your Honor, at about 8:55 p.m. yesterday, the defendant was found on the 4th floor of the Georgia Tech Clow Undergraduate Learning Center long after it was closed to the public. Officers immediately recognized the defendant because they knew that he was criminally trespassed for sleeping in another building on the Georgia Tech campus. This defendant is not a student at Georgia Tech. The state would be asking for a $500 surety bond and to stay away from the Georgia Tech Clow Undergraduate Learning Center located at 266 4th Street Northwest.
Okay. PD.
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Arthur Gibson is 29 years old. He's been in Atlanta with no family here, no one to assist with bond, Your Honor. Mr. Gibson completed a HVAC certification course. However, Your Honor, at this time, he is unemployed. These are allegations. He's presumed innocent. I am requesting, Your Honor, given the nature of the allegation, a signature bond. We are unopposed to the stay away as proposed by the state. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, due to the history, open cases, number of cycles, I'm going to order the $500 surety bond. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order stay away from the Georgia Tech campus since he does not attend school there. So that would be the whole campus, as wide and big and large as it is. There's no reason to be over at Georgia Tech, but including the Learning Center on 4th Street. I'm going to, and I guess that's it, but nothing else that I need to order at this time. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing from the defense. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm. Who do we have, deputies?
I guess it's the breakout. Judge, let me give you the history before you go in the breakout, please.
Position 8, Mr. Heron.
Right. Okay.
All right,
We're going to get criminal history first and then put us in the breakout.
This is ninth arrest. He was arrested back in September in Columbus for battery DV. The other 7 cycles come out of Alabama. 2021 shoplifting, possession of synthetic narcotic, failure to appear. 2020 simple assault, 3rd degree. 2019 shoplifting. The shoplifting was a conviction, and drug possession. 2019 possession of a controlled substance. 2017 assault, domestic violence, 2nd degree. 2013 contempt of court conviction. 2012 crimes against person, assault, 3rd degree. That was a conviction. And that's it. Holly, I'm about to come check your calendar while they're in that breakout.
No
Okay.
problem.
All right, thank you. All right, let's see, who's my Zoom? Oh, Miss Grace, put us in a breakout. I believe it needs, tell me who it needs to be for the state.
It'll be ASG Abdullah and Deputy Falk.
Okay. And for PD?
PD Kim.
Kim, all by
Yes.
yourself?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
She's a big girl. She can handle it.
She can handle it, right?
Oh, okay, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Michael. She was dead wrong for that. Because did you read that one? That's what I told April. Went in there, I would have beat April said I would have choked that little nigga out. He gonna call him his goddamn grandma, great grandma, which is
Miss Gray, can you mute yourself?
Can you all hear me? You're muted, Judge. Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay.
I see her.
All right, now, there we go. Always forget when I come back out of the breakout. I think we're all back together now, correct? We can hear each other?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Again, this is position number 8, and the charge is SB, and the state will put the facts on the record.
On January 17, 2023, the defendant was captured on camera slapping the victim, Mrs. Ebony Sally's butt. Miss Sally is the security guard at the Fulton County Health Department where the incident occurred. Miss Sally was assisting someone when the defendant followed her and slapped her on the butt. She does not know the defendant, but was able to identify him for officers. Given the defendant's extensive record of violent crimes, including the open battery case out of Columbus, Georgia. It is likely that he will reoffend while on bond. Also, this incident or this took place at the victim's place of employment, and so the defendant has knowledge of where the victim works. For that reason, we're concerned that he could go back to where she works. In addition, the defendant poses a significant flight risk due to the defendant's short time here in Georgia. He has an extensive record out of Alabama, with the last case being an FTA in 2021. The defendant has also shown a disregard for court procedures, as he has the FTA from 2021, as well as a contempt conviction from 2014. For these reasons, the state is requesting a $5,000 surety bond, no further contact with Ebony Sally, stay away from 10 Park Place except for official business, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while on bond.
All right. PB Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Hearn is 44 years old, and we would like to request for a signature on bond since he has not been able to have any, he has no financial resources. His parents all passed away. He has nobody who can actually pay for his bond. He does not have a support for that. So we would like to request for a signature on bond. If Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond because of the history, we acknowledge the history. So we would like to request for maximum $1,000 good bond. Thank you.
All right. Well, given the history that I've heard, I'm going to order the $5,000 surety bond. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order no further contact with Ebony Sally, and to stay away from the Fulton County Health Department at 10 Park Place, except if he needs medical attention there. But preferably he should get it somewhere else. That's not the only location, but I don't know, he may have been taken there and had no choice. So again, no further contact with Miss Sally. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And anything else, counsel?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. All right, thank you. That does it for the last case.
Thank you.
If we're ready, we can go over the calendar.
Yeah,
Yes,
Judge,
ma'am.
I'll see you tomorrow. I guess we'll do this
Yep.
again tomorrow. All right.
Yes, well, thank you.
Judge, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Prior to the hearing, I did not give the reset date for the SAP calendar, which, by the way, is February the 2nd. Position number 1 is going to the SAP calendar with the $5,000 good bond. Position 2 is going to the SAP calendar with a $3,500 good bond. Position 3, SAP calendar with a $2,000 good bond. Position 4 is reset further notice with the $2,500 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 5, SAP calendar with a $500 good bond. Position 6, SAP calendar with a $5,000 cash bond. Position 7, reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 8, SAP calendar with a $5,000 good bond. Position 9, SAP calendar with a $5,000 cash bond. Position 10, SAP calendar with a $3,500 good bond. Position 11, SAP calendar with a $12,000 total good bond. Position 12, SAP calendar with a total $6,000 cash bond. And position 13 is going to the SAP calendar with a $5,000 good bond. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
No, ma'am.
All right, then. Everyone have a good one, and Judge, this paperwork is on its way.
Thank you. Appreciate it, everyone. Have a good one.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right.